I already recorded this, but they changed her a little bit. She does 75 damage to enemies per shot and 75 healing to allies that are hit. Unscoped is projectile, meaning it takes time for the bullets to get to where they're going. Scoped in is hit scan. So you can quick scope, but when you do that, you have a delay before you can fire again. So if you're just firing normally like this, it's quicker. And if you stay scoped in and fire, it's quicker. Now your abilities. Anti-grenade. This can anti-enemies for 4 seconds to kind of get healed. It also does 60 damage to enemies hit. For allies, it does 100 healing and boosts the healing they receive for a short duration as well. Sleep Dart puts enemies to sleep for up to 5 seconds. They can be woken up instantly, so be careful of that. When you sleep somebody, that is a great assassination target. You're like, hey guys, this guy can get murked. So that's what you want to use Sleep Dart for. You sleep somebody, you ping them, and they'll usually get taken care of. They'll be resting with the fishes, as they say. And you have your ultimate, Nano. This will make it so your teammate, for 8 seconds, does 50% more damage, takes 50% less damage, and at the initial start of the ability, they're healed for 250 HP. On tips, number 1, positioning. Try not to be super close to the enemies because that just makes you an easier target. Play back if you can. If there's no dive enemies focusing you, you shouldn't have a hard time playing a relatively safe distance. If there are dive enemies, play close to your team. Obviously, it's better that way so you're not too far away and they can actually try and peel for you. For Sleep Dart, usually whenever no one's around you, you want to shoot them, nade, and melee, or shoot again, and they'll be dead. Save. Slave your Sleep Dart. Pause. Save your Sleep Dart for enemy ultimates if you know they're close to them so you can shut them down. For your anti-grenade, be aggressive. Be aggressive. Throw it at the enemy, man. It will make them rethink their life choices. They have to take cover or get rolled because it can't get healing for 4 seconds. That's a bunch of time in a game like Overwatch. Don't waste your anti-grenade on a slept target. If you sleep somebody and your teammates around you, don't throw it at that person. If your teammates are competent, they should easily wipe out a squishy target with like 200 HP. One thing I forgot to mention was sky grenading is Ana. Throw your anti in the air if you're going somewhere and you won't be there anytime soon. If it hits somebody, great. If not, nothing gained, nothing lost, because by the time you get there, it's back off cooldown. It can be used again. If your tank is low HP and you have to heal him quickly, use your nade plus Nano. Be aware that Nano can get wasted when it's traveling to a teammate. And if the enemy's antied, or your teammate's antied rather, it won't do any healing at all. They'll get the damage reduction, but that's it. So be careful. Ana's ultimate Nano is good on every single hero if the people playing those heroes are good at the character. But in most cases, it's best to Nano somebody that has ultimate synergy with Nano. For instance, you got Soldier Nano Visor, Nano Blade with Genji, Nano Death Blossom. But not always will you have someone who's playing a character that synergizes with Nano's ultimate, wow, with Ana's Nano. So in those cases, Nano folks that are good outside of the ultimate. For instance, Bastion in his configuration mode. Whenever he just goes into turret mode, that is so much damage potential. It's a little mind-blowing. And in other cases, your tank is almost always a fantastic option because then it makes them tankier, and most tanks are really good at doing damage. Like pretty much every tank in the list here is good at that. I'd say it is helpful to be like, yo, make sure you have your cooldowns for this. Like Orisa, for instance, if she spears somebody with Nano, it's almost a guaranteed kill, especially if they're a squishy target. So Orisa Nano is kind of insane. Ramatra, if he's in Nemesis form, it's a decent pick. If he's not, I wouldn't say it's a great option. Like if you have to, sure, but I would not say Ramatra is the best option. But in most cases, every hero is a good option. Just make sure that they're somewhat aware of what's happening. And even Zenyatta, for instance, like even supports can pop off with Nano. But in Zen's case, make sure he knows he's gonna get nanoed, because a lot of Zenyatas will pop their ultimate trance if they get low. And if you nano a Zen during trance, that is 6 seconds of just nothing happening. The last advice for Nano is to use it to send a message. If you sleep somebody and your teammate has ultimate, nano their ultimate even though they wouldn't need it at all to murk the person that's asleep. Good options would be Reinhardt Shatter on a slept target. Good and bad matchups versus Ana. Bad ones first. Kiriko is the hardest counter to Ana, considering her Suzu can cleanse on a sleep dart and anti-grenade. It just removes the effects entirely. You can remove both of them at the same time, which is a little rough for Ana to deal with. Outside of that, you also have dive heroes. For tanks, Diva, Winston, Hammond can be kind of annoying, but in combination with dive DPS, it's real rough. Tracer, Genji, and Echo, kind of. Not super hard, but like, you know, kind of. That can be a rough thing to deal with, especially if they're coordinating a dive on the Ana. So if you are getting dove and you think you can still make it work, try and play close to your teammates so they can peel for you. Outside of that, the only other big deals for Ana would be range characters like Widowmaker especially, and Hanzo a little bit. Widowmaker, because she can just scope in, hit scan, headshot you. You're one tap, done. Especially whenever your hard scope healing is Ana. You move slower. Widowmaker's like, oh, Granny. She came back for seconds, and she just takes you out back like old Bessie. It's rough. And aside from that, those are like the only ones that are semi-annoying to deal with. Ana is really strong versus these heroes. Tank-wise, Junker Queen, bro. Ana shuts down Junker Queen, something fierce. It is the most rough matchup. You anti-Junker Queen, 60 damage dealt, and she can't get healing for 4 seconds. Sure, Kiriko can cleanse her. And I should also mention that Zari can cleanse her bubbles as well. Or she can cleanse Ana's anti-grenade with bubbles, in case I didn't know. Other heroes would be Ramatra. You can just nade him on cooldown. And even when he's blocking, it can be rough for him to deal with because you can burst Ramatra through his ult or through his block. Reinhardt, kind of. Not a big deal. You can sleep Ryan during pen. You can nade him. He has to shield up or just get murked. Orisa, a little bit. It's definitely an inconvenience. And Roadhog. Roadhog, it's a weird one. Roadhog has so much effective health points that Ana, she's good versus Hog. But if you have a Kiriko with the Hog, it's almost like you don't even exist. Like, the best case scenario there is to try and sleep the Roadhog during a hook or a heal and wait to anti. You anti after Kiriko uses Suzu, and then you get the maximum value because Kiriko can't cleanse if she's already used it. It has a 15-second cooldown for Kiriko, yours is 10, so you're kind of chilling in that regard. And aside from that, that is the matchups for Ana. That's the video. Hope you enjoyed it. Who should I make it on next? Leave a comment down below and also vote in the poll. That wasn't that bad. Dude, I'm telling you, it took me 2 hours to record something like that before. I think doing this live is better for me.